Hi, Namaste and welcome to my 33rd book synopsis. The name of the book is Inglorious Empire, What British Did to India by Mr. Shashi Tharoor. This book was published in 2016 and it's around 250 pages book. This book was inspired based on his talk in 2015 where he was invited by Oxford Union to give lecture or one side on a topic called as Britain owes reparations, that is compensation, to its former colonies. I am sure all of us have seen that video of his speech or his side of the story and we all liked it. So this was the inspiration, but of course this book is different in three aspects as compared to that speech that he gave. First difference is that this book is not about reparations or compensations at all. It has some very minor portion, but it is not primarily on that. Number two is this book is on the Indian experience of Britishers, not entire British colonialism per se. And third, unlike the speech, this gives the other side of the story as well. That is, some arguments where people say that it was good that British came to India, etc. So it basically is trying to cover takes the balanced view. So those are the three differences in this book. The book starts with the chronology of events, which it starts from year 1600, where British Royal Charter created East India Company till 1947, where India got its independence. Then it starts with various topics. So each topic or each chapter covers 2-3 topics and then disseminates its details. So one of the chapters is on says how it killed the exports. For example, it talks about how it ended our India's exports. How diamonds were started to be exported as early as 1702 from India. Third, on how land revenue system, which was Zamindari, Rayatwari and Mahalwari, killed the farming in India per se, because irrespective of whether you have a crop failure or not, you are required to pay the land revenue. As simple as that. We have seen it in the fictional movie Lagan. He then compares this system with the earlier system of Indian rurals, where he says that many of Indian earlier rulers did not depend on land revenue as the primary source of their income, but other revenues were equally important. Second, he says that unlike other rurals who came and stayed in India, so there are two categories of people who came to India. One who came, looted and went away. Second, who came but stayed here, like Mughals. So he says that Mughals stayed here. They tried to take benefit of the system, but they did not export the money other than a very few minor amount of money which they would send to their religious places. They spent entire money in India itself. Whereas Britishers, they did not spend anything in India. Everything was sent to their country and the money was spent there to make it a prosperous country. Second point he talks about again is on a concept of India as a one entity. Somebody or people argue that Britishers first time introduced the concept to Indians that it is the India as a country. He says it is bullshit. He doesn't use that word, but he says that from the time of Mauryas even till Marathas, India was ruled as a one country. So the argument that Britishers brought India as a one country is not tenable argument. Third portion is, one of the chapter is on, I'm not going to talk on many other chapters because I will then not, there will not be anything much left to say. One chapter is on democracy, freedom and rule of law. Okay, very, very interesting chapter. When you say that you have a freedom of press, it is not a freedom of press at all. Only within whatever you are permitted to do, you can print. In fact, many newspapers were banned by Britishers. So freedom of press was only on paper, nothing on reality. Rule of law. When you say rule of law was different for Britishers and for Indians. So for same crime committed by Indian and by Britishers, the rule was completely different. Britishers quite often got a very minor punishment and they got away. Whereas Indians were even hanged till death for not so grievous crimes as well. He also argues that some of the rules that they established, like law of sedition and section 377, this book is published in 2016, still continue to be followed by Indians. One point he again argues that people say that Britishers brought railway line to India. Fair enough. Does that mean that Indians would not have brought railway line if Britishers would not be there? It is not correct. Indians were always prospering and looking for the changes and improvements and modern things. They brought railway for their benefit. It is a coincidental matter that Indians also benefited out of that. So all in all, and there are many other detailed descriptions of, he talks in details about Jallianwala Bagh, he talks about many other things. So this book also has some history touched upon it at various points of time. A very well researched book, a lot of references given from foreign journals, from many places, and one good aspect of the book is that it puts both sides of the argument. It is not one-sided book that it says that okay, what I am saying is correct and Britishers were bad. He definitely says that yes, they brought English to this country, they brought cricket to this country, they brought tea to this country. The intentions again were different, but we benefited out of it. But intentions were always that they should get benefit. Now before I end this synopsis, 3 points. One is that whether you should buy this book. I have said so many good things about this book. Whether you should buy this book, answer is definitely yes and answer is no. You won't be surprised why I am saying that you should not buy the book. I am saying this because you should buy a book by a different name called as An Era of Darkness, the British Empire in India, because that book was published in India in 2016 by an Indian publisher, and this book is published by a foreigner, and that's why it costs around 3 times the price of that book. I spent around 4-digit number to purchase this book, and then I realized that the book published in India was available. So do not buy this book, but buy the other book which I said. I'm going to post that photo also at the end of this session. Point number 2, everybody knows the Mr. Shashi Tharoor's capability on English. So I had thought that I might have to take a dictionary besides me when I start reading the books. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I could not understand only maybe 5 to 10 words from this book, which I believe is fine enough. Of course, last point, any of you, I'm going to post this on 1st of September, and you can read this on my Facebook page, Books from My Eyes. It will be posted on LinkedIn as well as on my YouTube channel. If you like it, please subscribe to it and please give me your constructive feedback, which is definitely welcome. Thank you so much.